Yes, I can do very, basic, and then there are people who use pendulums, you know, just to get an answer from your higher self. But also, sometimes if you're doing meditation practice, you can hear yourself. You can hear your higher self more easily, I think. And so even meditation practice can be anything, from just sitting quietly and unplugging from everything and breathing, just giving yourself a quiet space, or you can get it, advanced teaching, from somebody in techniques. But I think it's good to do that because then you start to feel what your body actually feels like. I mean, we're so distracted. Sometimes we don't really feel what we're feeling, and that is the positive quality of the Pisces ability to feel, is to be able to tune in like this and know what's going to help me today. Like, where am I going overboard, and am I eating too much food? How do I feel after I eat? Do I feel comfortable? I mean, because basically, shouldn't you? You should feel great after everything.
And in the utopian world, I agree.
So if you don't, there's something. So if you listen, you might be able to find out what that is. Again, with willingness. I mean, because, there's lots of things that I'm sure I'm being told.
And not listening to, yeah.
Don't tell me that.
I don't want to hear that. Really? You really
No.
want me to hear that? Yeah.
Come on, it's my birthday. I need a big piece of cake, But this is what I think, all the emphasis on Virgo. In the month of October, we're going to have Venus enter Virgo. We already have Jupiter and Mars, and all three will be in. Once Venus enters, I'm believing that it's on the 8th. I'm looking at my list. It is. It's the 8th. And Venus is how we love and what we love, and it can also be about food. So with Jupiter already in Virgo, other things about Virgo is, that this was the goddess of grains. This is the nurturing mother. It's a very interesting sign. So with all the emphasis here, we could start looking at what we're talking about. We could start seeing, and also if you're upset when you're eating, sometimes it's not what you're eating, it's how you feel while you're eating. So just paying a little more attention to that this month, I think is a grand month to do it. Jupiter's going to be in Virgo for a while, so we're going to have lots of different things going on with Jupiter there. And Jupiter expands things. So we are also going to need to take care of ourselves in a feng shui way and get rid of some of the chaos and the clutter in our environment. Sorry.
No, don't you. Yeah, never mind.
Okay. I know, me too.
Another day, right?
Well, things. I can understand. Obviously, a white-haired woman. I'm not in the category that grew up with computers and cell phones. So I still do a lot of things with paper. I like paper.
I still miss my pen and pencils. I love it. I do.
Paper. I don't know. Maybe it makes me feel like I'm more in control of it, but truthfully, I get out of control with the paper. It's too much paper in my house. But so you can look at things, and you can also look at things that you're holding on to in your life that in the South Node Pisces realm are actually altering your energy in a negative way. That thing that person gave you. And every time you look at it, it makes you sad. You shouldn't be looking at it. Have it somewhere where you can't see it, or as they say about gifts even, if you don't like it, give it away or
Yes.
throw it away.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's all about the energy, how you're being affected. So you can mentor yourself by taking care of your own environment, and Virgo is a sign of mentoring. It's one of the signs of teaching. So we're teaching ourselves. We can mentor other people too, but I think it's helpful to mentor the self, um, and make sure that we're in good shape. If anything, I don't know what you would say, Rebecca, but one of the main words that comes to me all the time now is grounded. You know, to be able to be grounded while all this change and everything is going in directions we never even dreamed of.
Yes, and I have, let me just say, the with all the chaos, and I'm going to just put that word out there because it is chaotic,
Yes.
chaotic changes.
Yes.
With all of these things going on, it is really, really important to try to maintain, some semblance of balance. And in this case, we're calling it grounded. We're going to be more grounded. And there are many little tricks that people can do when it seems like the world around them has, just spun out of control. Because there's a lot of people that are witnessing it, but it's not affecting them specifically. But they can see it affecting other people around them, and so it creates this, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to, it can be an upsetting thing and not a positive thing. Right. So to stay grounded, there's many things that you can do. One of them is obviously a little bit of meditation. If you can find some really nice soothing music to just, if nothing else, it's just to put it into your background. It doesn't mean that it overwhelms everything that you're doing, but if you just put it in the background, the body responds very positively to music. And it does help keep us grounded. Walking outside barefoot, let's do the, tree hugger thing, I'm all for that. Literally going out and digging in the dirt if you need to go pull weeds or plant fall flowers or fall crops. Perfect thing is to become unified and connected to the physicality of the world that you are currently experiencing in that way, in a very positive way. And that gets with, I think, you were talking about Virgo being very individualized. Well, this is showing your individualism, but you're doing it in a healthy way for you as you're watching all of these things kind of spinning around you. And if you find that the activities around you become overwhelming, those are some of the things that you can do, and hopefully maintain your own semblance of being grounded and focused while you're experiencing on some level the changes that's life is a constant change. That is the constant in this world.
Yes, it is. Thank you. And you just made me think, yesterday you were baking bread. I think that the more we read about food, the more disturbed we get. Because food, without food, we're not at this point. I mean, we could learn how to live on air and sunlight, but I don't know, maybe not this lifetime. So I have started making my own food. I know that sounds incredible in this day and age, but, instead of letting somebody do something prepackaged for you or going to a restaurant and not knowing the ingredients, it can be very grounding, to make yourself something that is really healthy, like a nice healthy soup with organic vegetables and, non-GMO product. You know what's in it. You're giving something good to yourself and your family. So I know that life is very busy, but sometimes there are things that don't take very long. I had the most delicious black bean brownies. They were melt in your mouth. Delicious. Nobody at this event would have had the slightest idea that they were made basically with organic black beans as the base. And organic cocoa and, xylitol instead of sugar. I mean, they were absolutely divine. And so I got the recipe, and it's so easy. It's just, you have to get those ingredients, but then you just put them in a blender, you blend them up, and it's fast. So it isn't something that has to be a burden, and you can keep some things frozen. I mean, there are ways to take care of you, is what I'm saying. And stay grounded, and I think this is when we're all going to be looking at that. How am I willing to take this on as something, because instead of looking outside and saying, somebody go fix it for me, I'm going to, even just voting somebody in, that's not going to fix everything for you overnight. You are not powerless. You still have this power to find out, how can I make, it could be so easy. You could just chop a bunch of things up and throw them in a pot and do all the other things you need to do with the timer going. And then you'll have a nice, healthy meal. And you'll feel good and you'll feel grounded. So I really encourage you to explore those things, particularly this month, with all the emphasis with these other planets in Virgo. Mercury is going to go direct.
Yay, yay, yay.
Really?
What day is that? I'm going to go do a celebration dance out in the middle of my front yard.
Celebrate dance is on the 9th.
Okay. You want to come?
Super. That'd be great. I don't know where you are, but, and with Mercury retrograde, I'll never get there. I'll end up somewhere. But well, the thing that I like people to understand is that while, the planet's not really going backwards, but it's a change in our relationship to the orbit, And it's not the same as a train speeding up next to another train that's moving, but it's similar in its effect. One seems to be pulling backwards, but they're both going forward. Mercury, any planet, when it's getting ready to change directions, seems to stop. We call that a station, like the train came into the station. And the day before a different shift in direction is the worst of all the days of the retrograde or the going direct. So watch out for the 8th, the day that Venus enters Virgo. People will be much less connected to their mind than they even are now. So that's the day to be really cautious, particularly with people driving. It's so hard now. I mean, I live where you must drive now. I grew up in New York City, which is what you're hearing in my voice, but now I must drive. But I must. But I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff that goes on in the streets of Manhattan with Mercury retrograde. But be more careful. Just be more focused and more careful. Once Mercury goes direct, it will be in Libra. So we've been going back over appropriately for this eclipse the things that have happened in relationships. And how did we do? Did we deal well with that situation, or might we have done something a little different? Is there somebody you have to apologize to, or is there someone you're waiting for an apology from? Is there something, some order of business, okay, that's going to come forward after this Mercury direct? And there will be, whatever it is for you and whenever it is, you'll find that. The planet that's been retrograde has gone back over degrees of a sign. And when it comes direct, it's going to go back over them again in direct motion. So we call that the shadow, those degrees. So Mercury is still in the shadow, going back over the same territory until the 23rd. But this is when you can really start making decisions about it. I mean, the great Mercury retrograde energy, it's like the yin of the yang of a planet when it's retrograde. You have the opportunity to go interior and research and think about and redo and revise. That's the best use of a retrograde.
So you can do a do-over.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you have to make a decision now, like I need to go look at cars, I could have done research. I have done research, but I haven't actually gone to drive one because I'm waiting for the direct before I actually test drive, because I might fall so in love that I buy it. And at least I'll know when Mercury's direct. I probably won't change my mind about that. I won't think I made the wrong choice. I mean, you can buy little things, you don't stop living, but it's those big things. Those are the things that you can start looking at and saying, well, this is how I feel about that now, and you can take some steps.
Okay, so no house buying, no big car buying, things like that is not a good idea.
Not unless you're looking for something to change about it. You'll change your mind. It's that's how the mind is. Yeah, like you may have said, wow, I really want this car, and then once you're in it, you're like, it's too small. It's that kind of thing. It's not like your life has to be a total disaster, but it's the kind of thing that you might have been more aware of under the direct Mercury.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah. It's like how you forget, I guess this is like the most archetypal thing that people always say. You forget where you put your keys, during a retrograde, or you show up at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's why I said I could never get to your house under Mercury retrograde. People, even your GPS is going to make mistakes. I think Facebook crashed. Everybody went Mercury retrograde.
There was a lot of stuff that's went on. For sure. Yes. I agree.
Making sure you've backed up your information is before the retrograde. It's true.
That's why everyone should have an astrologer in their life.
Everyone.
They should. They should. Everyone should have an astrologer in their life.
And we're so great. We're such anyway.
You are.
We don't ask for much. You just put us on a little pillow in the corner and feed us healthy food.
There you go. I love it.
Definitely. It's good. It's always good to know what's happening. So
Agreed.
There's a lot of things to tell you about October, but we do have another time in October the end of September.
It's October. Let me look. I think it's October 6th. You're going to be back on
13. 13?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
It's retrograde Mercury at work. That was it. You just found another retrograde Mercury. That's a perfect example.
Yeah. So you're going to be back on the 13th.
So there's more to tell you that comes after. But I do want to tell you that this is also a great month. Jupiter in Virgo trine Pluto in Capricorn in the mid-month. If you do have projects, particularly that you're working on, a goal, or something that's very material in your life or to do with your health, this is a great month for that, to get practical and get some practical information while the retrograde is going on. Do your research, and then once it goes direct, move forward. Take a step forward, because it's very supported. That's supported now. So do you have any questions for me?
Well, what I wanted to do was to kind of go over a couple of things that you talked about in relationship to what's actually going on after this eclipse and what's happened during these past few weeks. In talking about the negative and positive sides of every sign, I have to tell you that the thing that got me most interested in astrology is I was in my early 20s, and I ran across, in days before computers, and I ran across a book in which you had to manually chart your astrological
Oh, yeah.
stuff, right? And
That's how
so,
we started.
yep. And so, and like it was way beyond my mindset. However, I got through it. I don't know how. I look back and I don't know how I did it because I couldn't do it today. Um, and I read a lot about positive and negative aspects of my own sign, and some of it was kind of scary, the negative aspects of it. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
really that is how I am, and I don't think that's how I want to be. And so I've always told people that I think astrology is an extremely valuable tool in order to find out what, in very real terminology, what's not positively aspected that you may be exhibiting, or maybe it may be showing up in your space, in your mind, in your life, whatever. And it's an extremely powerful tool in order to change the idea of how you're expressing yourself, whether internally, externally, or both. So for me, astrology has just been a huge tool, and I'm so grateful for all of you who have went forward and really made this kind of their life, much like what I do is my life, and I'm so grateful that you all have done that, and I'm really excited about some of the changes. But I wanted to just briefly, before we have to go here today, is to talk about what we're witnessing. Anything that you garnered out of this today, you can go into the news, any news, I don't care what news it is, all for this last month, and I don't care what media you use, you're going to see the physical manifestations of the energetics that Shellie has presented here today. One of the things that you talked about early on, and I was just telling my producer before we went on the show, and this is really a very horrid story. But I just read about it this morning, and I thought, oh my goodness gracious! And I'm not going to tell you where or who it was, and it was somebody that does not live in this country. It was talking about homeless people, right?
Yeah.
And their belief is that all homeless people need to be euthanized in order to take them and put them out of their misery.
Whoa.
This is a person that's in position of authority and influence in their country. And I thought, oh my goodness, what makes someone think that a homeless person is miserable, number one, and number two, doesn't deserve to be here, and they do. And I thought, so this is kind of the space that people are in. They're kind of making their statements. This is who I am, and this is what I'm about. And what you have to ask yourself, is that really the kind of people that you want to be running and making decisions for all of humanity? Because let me tell you, we are all part of humanity, no matter what your social status is.
Right.
I think we all count. I think we all matter. We're all here, right?
Right. Well, you just gave a perfect example of a South Node in Aries, a person who's so afraid of other people and of any upset that might remind them that they might also lose something and be at the mercy of others. Their own fear of being at the mercy of other people, do you know what I mean? Is their solution is to not see it and get rid of it. And, it's like that Aries South Node. I will go to war with it. I can eradicate it. It's like when we try to get rid of, the bugs in our house, I will just kill it, and then it will no longer disturb my sense of being. And it's the South Node. We're just seeing that. I think we see it, the fear that people will be taking something from us. We're here to, that's the whole thing. We're supposed to be evolving towards a equal community. a community of partnership and agreements that work for everybody, and it could happen. It has existed on the planet, although it was thousands and thousands of years ago.
But I have a memory of that somewhere. I do.
Oh, yes. I think many of us are starting to wake up to the memory of it
Yes.
and to crave it in a
It's
way.
it's possible.
It is possible. Why wouldn't it be possible? When we look at the refugee crisis. These people are in desperate fear for their lives and they're fleeing a country. Most of us are here because people left a country. I mean, I don't think there's anybody except Native American people who are in our country that didn't have a reason to leave.
Somewhere
But
else.
the landed gentry weren't usually the ones that were coming, unless they were the youngest brother who couldn't inherit anything.
Right.
So how do we, it wasn't even that long ago, but it seems as though, to me, that's the fear element. And because people aren't taught how to love themselves in a healthy way to become a healthy individual, and we're not applauded for being an individual unless you're on American Idol, but then you still have to sound like somebody else in order to win. This is how, so we have to break out, and just say, look, I'm the one. I have to start with me. This is the healthy part of Aries. I have to start here. It starts with I am.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of the rest is added to it. So I mean, there are countries and even some cities in the United States that are building tiny houses and putting people in them. And
Love that
wow, what a
idea, by the way.
they're not breaking down. Those countries aren't dissolving because they extended charity. And they knew that this could actually make the person feel worthy enough to get up and help with other things.
And really,
I mean,
it's about helping your mankind, not hindering them, not putting them down. I so agree. And there are countries out there, by the way, that look at Denmark and Iceland, and I think to name a few.
yes.
Yeah, and they've got an excellent system. For the most part, and obviously everyone would have their own thoughts on that, but that's my personal opinion.
Well, it's just if we look at it astrologically, that Uranus-Pluto square was the rebellion of the individual. So it was for the positive and the negative, and the Pluto in Capricorn, which is we've got to transform our consensus mind, and we've got to transform our structures and our governments and our corporations and our authorities. But that's also the powerfully obsessed government authority figure. So we're always dealing with where are we going to be in this? Where are we going to be? And we haven't even gotten into Saturn and Sagittarius, which is going to be really important for us to see where we're being rigid and where we need to expand the way we think.
Well, the next time you're on, I
yes.
think that might be, make some notes there, and that's something that we will certainly take a look at for sure. We're
yes.
actually out of time, believe it or not. I just move by really fast. I don't see these hours are just like minutes, right? Seconds.
Yeah.
Shellie, by the way, we'll be back, and I've written it down so I didn't forget, on the 13th of next month, which is just like a day or two away. So she'll be back in 2 weeks. I hope that we see you back here again. And we are going to be taking some questions and answering them on air, but you have to email me your date of birth, place, and time, along with the question, and it would be helpful to have at least your first name. And if you will email those to journeyswithrebecca@yahoo.com. And I'm going to put that in my newsletter. So if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, you can do that on my website, journeyswithrebecca.com. And it'll give you all the instructions on that. And so that we'll be taking a few questions at the end of the show in 2 weeks on the 13th. Shellie will be back. And I cannot thank you enough, Miss Shellie, for being here and enlightening us. You have no idea how much sense this made, and I'm just looking forward to more exploration with you.
Well, I'm so glad. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do that, and for to hear all your wisdom also. So,
Oh, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Until we meet again, where will your life's journey lead you? Many blessings and have a great day.